All day I had been wandering through the mystic groves of the hollow, thinking thoughts I need not discuss, and conversing with things I need not name. In years, a child of 10, I had seen and heard many wonders unknown to the throng, and was oddly aged in certain respects, when upon forcing my way between two savage clumps of briars, I suddenly encountered the entrance of the vault. I had no knowledge of what I had discovered. The dark blocks of granite, the door so curiously ajar, and the funeral carvings above the arch, around in me no associations of mournful or terrible character. Of graves and tombs I knew and imagined much, but had no account of my peculiar temperament being kept from all personal contact with churchyards and cemeteries. The strange stone house on the woodland slope was to me only a source of interest and speculation, and its cold, damp interior, into which I vainly peered through the aperture so tantalizingly left, contained for me no hint of death or decay. But in that instant of curiosity was born the madly unreasoning desire which had brought me to this hell of confinement, spurred on a voice which must have come from the hideous soul of the forest. I resolved to enter the beckoning gloom, in spite of the ponderous chains which barred my passage. In the warning light of day I alternately rattled the rusty impediments with a view of throwing wide the stone door, and essayed to squeeze my slight form through the space already provided, but neither plan met with success. At first curious, I was now frantic, and when it thickened twilight I returned to my home. I had sworn to the 100 gods of the grove that at any cost I would some day force an entrance to the black chilly depths that seemed calling out to me. The physician that with the irony grey beard, who comes each day to my room, once told the visitor that his decision marked the beginning of a pitiful momentia, but I will leave final judgment on my readers when they have learnt all. The months following my discovery were spent in futile attempts to force the complicated padlock of the slightly opened vault, in carefully guarded inquiries regarding the nature and history of the structure. With the traditionally receptive ear of the small boy, I learned much through a habitable, much through a. The months following my discovery were spent in futile attempts to force the complicated padlock of the slightly opened vault, and in carefully guarded inquiries regarding the nature and history of the structure. I traditionally with the traditionally receptive ears of the small boy, I learned much through an habitual secretiveness caused me to tell no one of my information or my resolve. It is perhaps worth mentioning that I was not at all surprised or terrified to learn of the nature of the vault. My rather original ideas regarding life and death had caused me to associate the cold clay with the breathing body in a vague fashion, and I felt that the great and sinister family of the burned-down mansion was in some way represented within the stone space I sought to explore. Mumbled tales of the weird rites and godless reveals of my bygone years in the ancient hall gave me a new potent interest in the tomb, before whose door I would sit for hours at a time each day. Once I thrust a candle within the nearly closed entrance, but could see nothing save for a flight of damp stone steps leading downwards. The odour of the place repelled yet bewitched me. I felt I had known it before, in a past remote beyond all recollection, beyond even my tendency of the body I now possess. The year after I first beheld the tomb, I stumbled upon a worm-eaten translation of Plutarch's Lives in the book-filled attic of my home. Reading the life of Theseus, I was much impressed by the passage telling of the great stone beneath which the boyish hero was to find his tokens of destiny whenever he should become old enough to lift its enormous weight. The legend had effect of dispelling my keenest impatience to enter the vault, for it made me feel that the time was not yet ripe. Later I told myself I should grow to a strength and ingenuity which might enable me to unfasten the heavily chained door with ease, but until then I would do better by conforming to what seemed the will of fate.